again. Daisy and I would like to welcome you to the third episode of Ultimate Talk, marking violations and throwing fouls. We hope you learned something new today. The marker is the defensive player who is within 3 meters of the player with the disc. To establish a legal mark, the marker must leave at least one disc space between their body and the thrower's body and pivot point. If a line was drawn between any 2 points on the marker, it must not touch the thrower. Also, their feet cannot straddle the thrower's pivot foot. If any of these conditions are not met, it is a disc space violation on the marker. If any one of these things occurs solely through the movement of the thrower, this is not a violation. There are 3 more marking violations. 1. Fast count. If a marker counts stalls quicker than 1 number per second, or does not start or resume a stall count without saying stalling, this is a violation. If the thrower does not have time to say fast count before the T of 10, this is considered a contested stall, and the stall will resume at 8. If a contested stall happens a second time during the same possession, the stall will then resume at 6. 2. Double team. If another defensive player is within 3 meters of the thrower's pivot point and they are not within 3 meters and guarding another offensive player, this is also a violation. If this occurs merely by running through the area, this is not a double team. 3. Vision blocking. The marker is not allowed to deliberately block the thrower's vision. If the thrower's vision is temporarily blocked by the defender while engaged in a legal position, that is not a violation. These 4 marking violations, fast count, double team, disc space, and vision blocking, can only be called by the thrower and must be called out by name. Play does not stop. The marker must ensure that the violation is corrected before the stall count can resume. After the marker or marker's team has corrected the violation, the stall resumes at 1 less than the last number spoken. For example, the marker would say, stalling 1, 2, 3, 4. The thrower could say double team. The marker would then say 3, 4, etc. If a marker commits a marking violation after being called for a previous one during the same stall count, but before the thrower is in the act of throwing, the thrower may choose to either call another marking violation or to treat it as a general defensive violation by calling out violation. This stops play, and the count will now resume at 1 when the disc comes back into play. Now let's look at some throwing fouls. A throwing foul may occur when there is non-incidental contact between the thrower and the marker. The disc in possession of the thrower is considered part of the thrower, so contact with the disc also counts as contact with the thrower. In general, any contact between the thrower and the marker's arms or legs is considered a foul caused by the marker, unless the contacted area of the marker is completely stationary and in a legal position. Although, in reality, it is very uncommon that the marker would be completely stationary. Once the marker has established a mark in a legal position, it is the responsibility of both the thrower and the marker to respect that position. If contact results when both players are vying for the same unoccupied space, that is a foul on the marker. Now, if the thrower contacts the marker's body that is in a legal position, that is a foul on the thrower. If any incidental contact happens after the throw is released, this is not a throwing foul on its own, but may be another sort of foul that won't be considered to have affected the throw. So, in review, marking. 1. To establish a legal mark, the marker must leave at least one disc space between their body and the thrower's body and pivot point. 2. If a line was drawn between any 2 points on the marker, it must not touch the thrower. 3. There are 4 marking violations: disc space, fast count, double team, and vision blocking. 4. These violations can only be called by the thrower and play does not stop. 5. After the violation is corrected, the stall will resume at 1 less than the last spoken number. 6. If a violation occurs a second time during the same stall count, the thrower can either call another violation by name or call violation, which will stop play and the stall will resume at 1. Throwing fouls. 1. Any contact between the thrower and the marker's arms or legs is considered a foul caused by the marker, unless the marker is completely stationary and in a legal position. 2. The disc in possession of the thrower is considered part of the thrower, so contact with the disc also counts as contact with the thrower. 3. If contact results when both players are vying for the same unoccupied space, that is a foul on the marker. 4. If the thrower contacts the marker's body that is in a legal position, that is a foul on the thrower. That's it for me and Daisy. We hope you learned something new today. And remember, always play with spirit. Right, Daisy?